I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're starting The Ultimate Climb with author Sergei Melnik and his inspiring memoir, The Road to Kilimanjaro, which charts his incredible journey from the poorest country in Europe to the pinnacle of the world. The author demonstrates how facing adversity, from arriving poor in the US to dealing with fraudulent partners, is an uphill entrepreneurial battle that requires holding tight to integrity and intuition. This profound memoir reveals that by pushing through personal and professional roadblocks, a person can not only survive, but thrive and enjoy the rewards at the finish line, achieving both personal and professional success. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Sergei, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me along. Thank you.
Great to have you on the show. What prompted you to choose Mount Kilimanjaro as the ultimate symbol for the $1 million business goal you set with your friend?
Oh, it's a very interesting moment that I had in 1995 when I was in Moldova. I just got back from my 1 year outside Moldova, study at the United States University at UCF, and I was having a very pleasant gastronomical experience with an American who was telling in very vivid colors about a friend of his who climbed Kilimanjaro and the amazing experience of seeing the most beautiful sunrise in the world. And coming out of that dinner, me and my friend, we looked at each other and said, well, that would be something nice to celebrate, an achievement. So how about that? Whomever makes first $1 million invites the other one. And we go and climb Kilimanjaro. And it was said as a joke, but somehow it just stayed with me through all the years.
Amazing, amazing. Your memoir charts your journey from Moldova after the early days of democracy. What unique adversity did this background instill in you?
Well, I guess the only thing I could think of is just survival. There was a point from a very happy childhood, relatively happy, because we just been blessed by our ignorance of not knowing where we live, and suddenly shaken by the collapse of Soviet Union, and suddenly from a relative abundance that we thought we had, food and everything else, and suddenly you actually have to struggle to feed yourself. So that was the most shocking thing that happened to us. And I was already in my late teens at the time when this was happening, but it was very vivid, the disaster that was happening around us. And I think just going through that calamity, surviving that, and being able to get ahead, and many of my friends became very successful from that generation that came from the early years of 1990s. They went to universities over there. I think that what directed me to achieve everything else that happened in my life.
Yeah. They say whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And in a way, that's very, very true for you. You were, very, very desperately poor. So you'd been there, you knew what that was like. So in a way, you fear nothing. You're willing to try harder, work harder, risk more. And sometimes risk, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, is part of it, right? Being an entrepreneur is an uphill battle, as you say.
It is. It is an uphill battle, and you have to be very lucky, but risk is an integral part of actually becoming successful. I always was saying, and with my partner Gareth, since we founded this company in 2016, Nutriband, that whomever doesn't risk does not drink champagne. He learned it by heart. And this was actually a Russian saying, even that by legend, it came from France when they were making champagnes the very first time, and they would never know when they would explode. So they would say, whomever doesn't risk doesn't drink champagne. And so that's part of business, and calculated risk, sometimes not very calculated. You just roll the dice, as in Kipling's poem. That's what it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard a wealthy entrepreneur say one time, every zero on your paycheck equals a target on your back. And that target sometimes comes in the form of betrayal. You were betrayed, dealt with fraudulent company partners. How did you maintain your integrity during those tough years?
It's tough to say how. I mean, I
Mm,
just did. I knew I didn't want to become poor. I didn't want to be poor, and that's why I was struggling to make it happen. And it was easy to succumb to all those, haters and thieves. The thing is that if I'd have done it, I think I would lose myself.
mhm,
And I think that would came probably my early education was my grandparents, was my parents, and the decency that had in our family, that we never dealt with something like that. We never dealt with betrayals,
mm,
and that probably shaped me up. I would not bring God in here, but again, I mean, my parents are communists, and they believed in God, even they never told me. I was actually baptized in the garage. They brought the priest at home, so nobody
mm.
knows.
Wow.
When I was, a toddler, so in a way, I mean, it paid off in the long run for me, and it paid off handsomely. I mean, I'm extremely happy.
Mm,
I got everything I wanted. There's a moment in my book when I write that I'm exactly at the place where I want to be, and if anybody reaches that level, I mean, I think that life is successful.
mm,
So by not cutting the corners, by not succumbing and behaving just like them, somebody told me at one point about Kipling. I never learned him in school. I mean, it was not our program in Soviet Union. But the poem if it's amazing, and I learned it by heart, and my kids know it by heart right now. And we recite it every other morning when we go to school, and it's encompasses like the whole thing that you have to grasp as growing up and becoming somebody. If
mm.
you follow those simple rules, you'll be a man.
Yeah. Yeah. You emphasize following your intuition when it comes to achieving success. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Intuition, yes, sometimes dreams. And I remember at one point I had I had a dream that my partner, he's extremely tall, and I was facing him, and he's looking at me, and he's telling me somebody's pickpocketing my pocket, and he with his very heavy Irish accent, and I wake up, and exactly that morning, within half an hour after that, he gives me a call that our bankers were offering us a very nice line of credit, and I said no.
Mm,
I mean, that just dream just tells me. I mean, if we go through that, I mean, we're not going to live to see our company go and become anything.
yeah.
So, and it was a very lucrative one, but we just made it barely from a previous loan that they gave us. Just gave it back, just had everything cleaned up, all our balance sheet, and then that happened. So, intuition is part of something that you cannot really control. It's your inner
Mhm.
voice that tells you what to do and how. Sometimes it's extremely difficult to know if you're doing the correct thing, and you're going to find out way later. But my way to deal with that, and I found it extremely useful for me, at least, calming me down and making me make the right choices. I would just pray inside me.
Mm, yeah, exactly. Listen to the voice of God. That'll guide you. If intuition doesn't do it, the voice of God will. You included in your book the lyrics, the verses of Song About a Friend. Tell us why you included that and what impact you hope it has on readers.
That's a song from Vladimir Vysotsky. It's a classic, Russian classic. I mean, he was a big rebel back in the day. It was forbidden in the Soviet Union.
Mhm.
It happened when he died. His funeral was during the Olympics 1980. Nobody knew that he died. I mean, there was not in the TV. There was not, even though he was extremely popular. 1 million people showed up for his
Wow.
funeral, even though it was not even advertised. Nobody, they were trying to keep it in secret. He had his songs extremely philosophical, and this particular one was actually saying that if you want to see who your friend is for real, you just take him into the mountains. You can't cheat through that. You can't lie through that. And you go through this strenuous, uphill battle that you have, and you're going to have to rely on him. He's going to have to rely on you. So, and the poem says, if you swore like a sailor, but held the rope, held tight, didn't let it go, and always was by your side, then you're going to have, you have a real friend. But if he actually, at any point in time, would looking to take a shorter way, cut a corner, would complain, would whine, there's nothing really much to do there. You just have to let him go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you hope readers take away from your book? What do you hope they learn after they turn that last page?
It's just everyone has a balance in life and finding his point of happiness, whatever makes him happy. I think that book is just about that. Somebody who wants to make an extremely lucrative career and make a lot of money, and probably that will bring them happiness. Someone like me would have the whole happiness in their kids. And though I didn't have, let's say proper childhood like I give to my kids, where they travel all over the world and have all these opportunities, and I live through them right now. That's my point of happiness. And so my idea is, my message is, just find your balance, whatever makes you happy, because at the end of the day, I think that's the point of living.
Yeah, absolutely. When you finally made it to the summit of Kilimanjaro, what did that mean for you personally? What was that experience like? Was it a moment to take stock? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's exhilarating experience. There's no, in the words I said at one point in the books I'm writing, that the moment when I see the sun comes out, and that you feel like you've been jolted with like a million volts of energy, and tears burst out of your eyes. It's not just the climb itself, and it's extremely strenuous. Actually, there's nothing easy about that. Very, very hard. But harder were the 27 years that I walked through that moment. So that moment, I think that what I felt, the whole thing, the 27 years of walking through this strenuous things, through the difficulties and whatever obstacles I had to overcome, and make myself stay on that mountain and observe the most beautiful sunrise in the world.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Must have, in a way, it kind of is the capstone on your life. Not that you don't have other mountains to climb, but it's a bet you made as a young man. You did make you made good on it. You went to the top of the mountain and saw the most beautiful sunrise in the world. It sounds wonderful. I'll have to put that on my bucket list for sure. This should be on everybody's bucket list, this book. It's wonderful. You'll learn a lot about life. You'll learn a lot about business, and you'll learn a lot about yourself by looking at Sergei's journey. The name of the book is The Road to Kilimanjaro: From the Poorest Country in Europe to the Pinnacle of the World. It is an inspiring and essential memoir that uses the mountain as a metaphor for pushing through adversity to achieve personal and professional success. Sergei, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Logan.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and the wonderful work on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.